And welcome back to the LEC post-game lobby. I'm Quickshot. I'm joined here by Vedius and G2's coach, Grabbz. First of all, Lord, that was a fantastic interview, and I love that you asked Jankos to be careful what he says on stream, because it didn't come true. Grabbz, do you ever have words with your players about some of the things they say in social media, or do you just find it fun?
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
For me, Port is only the mentality they have during scrim time, so as long as they're serious there, I don't mind what they say on stream or on Twitter.
I'm actually really happy you said that, because it makes really good TV. It really makes like everything a lot more fun, and you get to have these banter
G2
moments.
in a nutshell.
Also, if I don't do that, then Carlos is back in my DMs and tells me to let me fun. So yeah, how about that one?
Okay, so we'll focus on the game a little bit. Like 22 minutes. I don't think it was a big surprise you guys beat Rogue, but Vedius, what was your take on just how clean and how well G2 played?
I mean, it wasn't super clean. I saw that dive bot lane, boys. I will say that it did feel that G2 do what they often do, and they get a little bit annoyed after a loss, and they take it out on the next team. It definitely felt like Caps had something to prove with his Akali, which is very much like, yesterday was a mistake on my part. I need to show the world that my Akali is actually good, and I think he had a better game today.
I also think Caps never was as silent as today. So I agree with you. I think he had like a little mission on his own.
I'm a little bit sad, because when Vedius was chatting, it was on a single cam of his face, and Grabbz' reaction was basically, you know, how did the team respond after the loss? Obviously, we spoke to Caps and PGL yesterday, but what was the mood like on the shuttle back and today?
Just disappointment, but not about the loss, but how we played. Because, I mean, we know we should be the better team. We made it too easy for them to win, especially in the early game. So we knew probably a loss would come, right? The 8-0, of course, you wanted to do it, but it's hard, especially with how we play the game and how cocky our players sometimes get. But just the way we lost was disappointing. But again, we're not going to change our ways. We're going to keep being the same team, having fun in game, and it showed today it can work as well.
So the one thing I also want to say is that we often talk about G2 as this team that's like not an early game team, but something I actually speak a lot to Grabbz ban, something I praise him for. I don't know why I don't praise Jankos, but I actually think Jankos' early game is like one of the best that we have in the league. And his ability to generate pressure and control the map is actually very impressive. But usually it doesn't always result in like overwhelming gold leads or like massive snowballs. It just feels like that he's a very patient player, and he seems to track and control the early game very, very well. But I'm curious as to what happened yesterday. Why wasn't that Jankos there yesterday, and why did it feel Broxah kind of had his number?
He was the same Jankos. Like, Jankos basically is a map hack. Like, he's that good in most games. It's just that even though he gave information, the people did not listen really.
I see.
So, for example, we full know that they leashed both side. Like, Grabbz will be top side. Caps, of course, died already level 1.
Yep.
And then wasn't prepared for the dive. So I felt like we kind of knew where they can be, or Jankos knew, and he gave the information, but people played a bit more disrespectful than usual.
That makes sense.
For example, one time Wonder also in mid lane when Grabbz could be there, and Olaf is nearby, but not around. So, yeah, just a happy game, like my G would say. It didn't go away.
Caps actually specifically called that out after the fact, and he was saying how, you know, playing long lane, I made a few mistakes. Maybe I should have thought about the lane. Being very deliberate with his word choice. But, of course, that was a loss yesterday. Today was the win against Rogue. We do have the key player of the game. It was Perks. He picked up 49% of the votes, adding another one to his tally, so congratulations to Perks. I want to talk about some of the other results today, because a few of them were quite surprising. And I'd like to start with Fnatic versus XL, and start just considering, like, first of all, how well XL played early, and maybe how well or how lacking of focus maybe Fnatic were, because there's two sides. Did you manage to get most of the game? Because I know you guys arrive as they're playing, right?
Yeah, we had like the draft meeting and everything during the early game, so we kind of turned on the TV and was like, what, 1-9?
Yep.
We're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But at the same time, and that's what often happens with the lower end tier teams, that they don't know how to close the game. And we could see that they really struggled on how to approach the siege. Therefore, we were not too surprised of Fnatic still turning it around. And I mean, Exeter just made very clear mistakes. I don't think they get too often into that situation, so I can see why they have issues.
I mean, Reckless had an absolute stand-up performance alongside Hylissang with the Ezreal Yuumi. They got a number of kills around the inhibitor, bought a lot of time, stalling the further push. I mean, Vedius, how did you read that game? Because I bought into the hype. I actually kind of wanted XL to take down Fnatic, and I wanted the storyline.
I mean, the irony is Fnatic did a lot of what G2 did in their game against Fnatic. Because we saw Nemesis dying 1v1 top. Seems like that, wait, Poppy can do this much damage, and this is how it works. And Expect had a fantastic laning phase. They died 2v2 bot. Because Hylissang made some uncharacteristic mistakes, and then Bwipo was getting ganked in mid. So I just felt like I agreed very much with what Bwipo was saying in his interview, where he was like, we didn't have very many options in the early game, but I also felt like there were a lot of individual mistakes, and maybe Grabbz can confirm this for me, but when you have a very important game, combined with a game against a bottom tier team, you usually put more prep into one team than the other. And so in my opinion, Fnatic put a lot of focus this week onto G2, and then coming into XL, while I can imagine they still did prep, it was just that was not
Also,
their focus.
The quantity, the quality. I mean, the priority is taking down the MSI champions, being the undefeated
I'm not going to say that for certain because I don't know what Fnatic's prep looked like.
Safe bet,
but like I would say that coming into that game, they expected they were heavy favorites, and so they showed an element of disrespect. And I think that they got caught off guard but multiple times by XL.
They ended up winning, of course, showing the caliber. I want to turn to the fact that Origen lost to Splyce. Now, Origen's one of the teams that's going to Rift Rivals and then being taken down by Splyce. I watched that game and I see a lot of similarities in how these teams play and their approach. I still felt that Origen are a slightly better team with slightly better players, but today wasn't the case. So, you know, are you surprised seeing that Splyce can take down Origen and Origen also had a slightly sluggish game yesterday?
I just think it came down to Origen opting for the Drave Morgana. And it goes that simple. You should win the bot matchup. But if Patrick, like I think, got cut out, like completely alone top set one time, didn't snowball the lead, and of course Sarah Khan will be strong in team fights. So I think just Origen went a bit more aggressive in the draft than it usually would. It didn't pay out for them, and then Splyce, of course, in a comfort zone, having good scaling as well. So, but yeah, as you said, like Origen is a bit slumping right now. It feels like it. We actually thought, of course, that Origen and Fnatic will be the two best teams coming into it. But they didn't progress from what the finals, it feels like, for now. They still have this very thought out plan, but they're still not good at reacting to something else. So if something comes up that they didn't anticipate, they struggle. Luckily, we play against an A, so they're not really good at surprising people. They're more like being 20-minute mid lane. So I think they will be fine.
What's your
Grabbz
take?
said it, not me. Grabbz said it.
Hold on, because actually I want to go deep dive on Rift Rivals a little bit, but I mean, let's stick with like OG this weekend. I was still pretty happy with OG coming into the week.
Nah, but like you can't be because they were second last split.
Yeah, but
and you can only assume that they would get better.
How close was their fight with Fnatic and G2 over
Yeah,
the
but
last
like
2 weeks?
the problem I'm having with that argument now is that like sure they had fine games, but now I'm putting it more down to Fnatic made mid-game mistakes and G2 took fights that they shouldn't have. But it was more down to their opposition playing poorly rather than Origen looking that good. And so while I definitely think on an individual level, Alfari and Patrick are better than what they were as a team what they were individually last split, I think their teamwork is still the same as it was last split. And in my opinion, that's not okay because they can't have the same slump at the beginning of the split that they had last split when, let's say, G2 wasn't in the league, right? And this super team that we now have wasn't there, they would have been our representatives at MSI. And, like, not showing growth in that period of time is surprising to me and a little disappointing. So I expected a lot more from Origen.
Is that something you agree with, Grabbz? You know, when you look at this team that makes it all the way to finals and now comes into the week, we've got 3 weeks, 6 games under their belts. Did you expect more from them, or is this just the ceiling of the team?
The way I see it, it's really hard because to improve, you get pushed. And
That's fair.
their playstyle wins them most of the games against lower-end tier teams, so middle table team.
Yep.
So I think the only teams that can punish them right now consistently would be us and Fnatic. And if they don't scrim us for a long time, then it's hard for them to push. Like the same thing we are kind of afraid of because we came back from MSI, we felt tired, but we completely rolled over teams in scrims. So you could kind of see yesterday the same mentality of saying, whatever we do, it will be fine. We still win the game, and suddenly we don't. So I think they kind of have the same issue. Like they're still a good team, right? They still have the fundamentals down. It's just the small things. And them losing and being aware, okay, this is not how we can actually win games, will help them in the long run. So I think it's better for them to struggle now and still have like 6 weeks to play than later in the split.
I actually have to ask a question though, because watching Fnatic take you guys down yesterday, if we'd swapped the name tags and turned nameplates off in game, you would have said, yeah, that's G2, that's how we play. It's rare to see your team get run over in that fashion.
Is it though?
Is it though?
PvP happened twice. I mean,
they also lost the game to Team Liquid.
Okay,
and
domestically, shall we say, right? But the main thing is, like, how much more can you learn from that, especially the fact that it was Fnatic, that it was this team that hasn't really been able to do that all year long, you know, going back to the drawing board.
But I also, to add on to that, you actually did the same thing against Fnatic the last time you met, because Caps was 0-5. So, like, if you're telling me that you learned, I mean, you obviously got better from that point on.
Is he a sleeper agent? No. But
I mean, he tweeted after all those times, so maybe he is.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like, these kind of games don't teach you something. It just teaches you that you can't do the same thing over and over again, because you have to go back to your to the roots and go back to earth a bit. Don't think you can win every game just by being better, because that's not how the league works. That's not how a league works.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it doesn't teach us much about the game itself, more about the mentality. So the same thing happened last year around. We had Promiscu playing there, and even their Fnatic didn't look convincing. I think, so yesterday, it sounds really weird because they're a strong team, but I didn't feel like they played that well, just us inting. Of course, it's something you can spin both ways.
Yeah,
Right?
it's perspective.
Exactly.
You can defend the viewpoint of both sides.
So we don't feel that threatened. I think, as we said, we lost Liquid as well in group stage because I inted in draft, but my players are used to that one. So yesterday, there were some arguments as well around that. So I think in a best of 5, if you can adapt, then I think we should still like win 3-1 convincingly.
I like that too.
And to be fair, that is something that Grabbz said a lot to me at MSI, where he was like, a lot of people think that we're a really good best-of-1 team, but in actuality, we think we're a better best-of-5 team because we have smart players and we have deep champion pools, so we're quick to pivot and grow.
Yeah.
And to be fair,
they
went 6-0 in their last playoff games, and they only got faster after each game.
Oh, I
right?
know, just 74 minutes in 70 minutes at MSI.
So, like, I will give Grabbz the benefit. Like, in a best-of-5, it would be difficult to vote against G2, but you can't take anything away from Fnatic. And I, as a European fan, I'm just happy that we have 2 teams that seem to be fighting at the top of the table.
Do you know when the next best of 5 is? Do you know that when we're going to play?
I believe
another...
it's next week.
What's happening there?
We'll be playing in North America.
Next week, G2, Origen, and Fnatic will be traveling to Los Angeles. They will be representing Europe at Rift Rivals. The tournament will be starting on Thursday. It's G2 versus Cloud9. I want to get your take, first of all, on how much fun we're going to have, how much vacation time.
Also, I had like this at the beginning of Ready Check, I was like, there's no way we're going to lose any games. And then I watched today's games and I'm like, I wish the backdraft.
The question I asked you was, what can we expect from our EU teams? And your answer in sort of one line was...
that we would go undefeated.
You've had 5 and a bit hours. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Does North America have a chance, Vedius?
Yes, North America definitely has a chance.
I don't agree, but sure.
I mean, all right.
Okay, what I will say is, when I came back from this game, my players were talking about role swapping for Rift Rivals.
Right?
So it might be that we're inting, but since Fnatic and OG didn't have the national experience this year, they're going to try hard and they're going to carry us, worst case.
Okay.
But in normal case, even with Mickey as AD and perk support, I think we can win against NA. So.
Oh, my word.
To be fair, Fnatic has already beaten you to the role swap, to be fair, so...
beaten to the role swap. We'll get to that in a second. Look, we've got some clips over here of TSM, Cloud9, Team Liquid, the 3 teams are going to be playing. I know, obviously, as you don't prep for these teams, right? And you're not going to watch them as analytically as maybe you will now over the next couple of days. What's going to be driving you and the players outside of just beating North America, right? I know it's show matches, it's exciting, it's single round robin, so you guys will be playing each of the teams. Yep. So, you know, what is on the line? What's at stake for you and the team?
We're not outspot right now, and I mean, all Panther said, of course, those 3 teams are strong, right?
Yes.
Sure. So, all memes aside, David should, of course, especially Liquid, even though we beat them 3-0, I still think they're a very good team, especially if they get a good draft for themselves, which they didn't do in the final. For us, we're kind of not spot right now because I feel like, we feel like a bit tired. I know there's a meme about being tired, and we didn't have a real break after MSI, and there's no surprise that Liquid, IG, SKT, Flash was all struggling. Like, IG won today, but they still don't play their best, right?
Yeah.
And we feel the same. Like, we're still in the same, like, MSI phase, basically.
The MSI hangover.
Yeah, we didn't have a closure, actually. So it's good for us to have at least a week break afterwards. So I can't promise that we're going to be like 100% prep and full triad in those games. Of course, we want to win, though, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're G2. We want to entertain the people. And that's something that's going to happen for sure. If it then ends in a win or a loss, I don't know.
really appreciate your candor and honesty in that response. But what's your expectation then for Fnatic and OG before we jump in there, Vedius? Like, do you think these two teams that didn't go to MSI, that don't have the bragging rights that G2 Esports does, do they go in there and absolutely try hard for their lives and really try to show up? I mean, is that what you'd anticipate?
I think none of the teams really do because there's a competitive disadvantage if you show too much. Because this is what happens last year when we came back. I think the MSI teams went 1-5, and the only win was because Splyce played Fnatic. So other teams are watching you. You give them something to learn. And bragging rights are nice. The thing is, like, what I really don't like is the format.
Okay.
Because the first 3 games don't matter at all. It's a best of 5 afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to motivate yourself for those first 3 games. So probably against TSM, Luca will want to win because it's Sven there, you know? But afterwards, it's kind of hard to feel like, okay, why are we actually tryharding here if the best of 5 is the relay race, is the important part of the tournament, right? Because nobody will care if you go 6-0 in groups, but then they win the best of 5. So I expect the first 3 games to be a bit more sloppy from each team in A as well, and then the best of 5 will have higher quality. I think, but as I said, the 10 players of Fnatic Origen didn't have a chance to show themselves on the national stage. So that's a small tournament for them to actually show how good they are. So I think it's not going to be hard for them to motivate themselves.
I mean, I like the Sven angle that you bring up because not only for Luca, for Perks, but also for Mithy going up against his former bot laner on the Origen side. It's a story that I'm personally excited to watch.
Yep.
I mean, Vedius, what's your take then, and your expectations maybe for some of the North American teams as well?
Well, Grabbz.
Don't redirect. I asked you the question.
I know.
What is this?
I know. But you got to bear with me
My
for a second.
players will say I'm going to talk too much, please.
No,
like, you have to talk
no.
now.
He has all I know is, right, Grabbz likes to tease. And Grabbz told me that they have a bunch of champions prepared, right? And then we coming into the split.
Why are you leaking his stuff?
No,
I just talked about the disadvantages and he's like saying that.
I don't know what they've prepared. All I know is they have all these champions prepared. For all I know, they can play every... when I speak to Perks, he's always like, I can play every champion. So what does that really tell me, right? Right? But what I'm curious about, right, is because we like to sprinkle in the 7 wonders of the LEC. And now I'm wondering if we might get to see another wonder.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I tried to stop
I'm not
him.
prepared for that one.
I tried to stop him.
Yeah?
Listen, let's turn our attention to one other thing, right? There's one other thing that will be happening. It is going to be a very, very special show match. Okay, we've got some golden oldies, relics, pieces of furniture, apparently former pros. These 10 players will be taking to the Rift, Grabbz. Youngbuck, Medic, Ocelots, Peck, and Deficio taking on Westrise, Kobe, Reginald, Dyrus, and LEC. We've got a few role swaps in there. I love the fact that Ocelot will be playing mid. By the way, I'm assuming this is just the roster, right? And Peck will be playing bot. That's going to be something special.
I think there was a tweet about also wanting to go bot lane.
Also wants to go bot lane so that he doesn't have to see Peke.
He wants to like harvest energy of Umajan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it'll work out, but if I see that in a roster, I'm not too worried.
Okay,
Yeah, NA roster's good.
But now, is this just Kobe? Like, are you just looking at Kobe, Dyrus, and like hoping?
No, but I know Restrice probably still plays like every now and again, and even if you don't play for a long time, like it's not hard to get back to Diamond if you're once like higher than that.
Yeah, but we have Peck and AD. Do you remember how that went? And
I have no confidence in this European team at all. This, I can tell you, it's Heimerdinger top, Sejuani jungle, it's Ari mid, it's Sivir and Zyra. That's the comp they can and only will play.
You're giving me a good idea for Cyber actually.
Like that, you know, like Youngbuck was the Heimerdinger one trick. Medic, if he has to jungle, the only 2 he can play are the ones that I've had to teach him. And then, like, the last time I duo queued with Ocelot, well, that was an experience.
I love having some fun with this one. And Grabbz, I do need to ask you a very professional, like, as a coach perspective. Do you remember watching Deficio when he was playing on Copenhagen Wolves? Do you remember back in 2019?
I want to say I'm kind of worried with an OG bot lane, 2 OG players, And if they play like the team, then we might have trouble. But
Okay, right. Now, I'm glad you bring that up because Deficio likes to pretend with rose-tinted glasses that his summer split performance on Nami and Zyra back in 2013
Nami, yeah.
was the best. He says some nonsense about having like the highest KDA and whatnot. I mean, was he a good player? I mean, I know the answer is no, but I want to know how bad was he?
I mean, I was a fan back then even, so I didn't even...
no! You buy
No, not of him, of the game.
Oh,
no. Like, don't go too far. No. Like, back then, I had a certain aspiration of becoming pro. So I watched the games I can on the sidelines. So I'm not too sure how good he was.
Well, obviously it didn't stand out if you don't have any memories. That's all the proof I need, right?
Pretty much. I'm sorry, Martin, but...
Don't apologize. He deserves it.
I spent a whole season duo queuing with Deficio. We had like a 70% win rate. I will say he's a good Zyra player. I'll give him Zyra. That's it.
He likes to think he was good on Nami.
And he's 100% not good at Nami.
Can Steve buy the win? Joke didn't land. Right. That's it for Rift Rivals, and we'll be starting next Thursday. I do just have one more topic I want to discuss that's a little bit freeform before we move on to close out the day. Earlier, before the Fnatic game, I did a special segment that I doubt you would have caught Grabbz. But Reckless, he got himself 1,486 kills leading up to today's games. Now, he picked up another 4 today, so technically, he's at 1,490 kills, 10 away from 1,500. And the animation that you're looking at, Grabbz, is all of the professional players that have made it into the top kills leaderboard since we've been tracking the stat all the way back in 2013. It will be wrapping up very, very shortly. And I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about what this top sort of 10 looks like. Because look, Perks joins the league, only been here for what, 3.5 years. He's already in the top 5.
Jankos is second.
Power of Evil. Seven is still in sort of our top... Froggen is still in our top 10 kills. This is just in European professional games. And he hasn't played yet in years.
To be fair, if you buckle it down to minutes played, I think Froggen will be not that high. They had some 80-minute games all the time, so I can see why it many kills. I for sure will hear a lot about Jankos being so high because he will be like bragging about it. So I really hate this graphic. Caps is also already breaking in there.
Isn't that terrifying? 680 kills and he's been 2.5 years in the league, if that.
Wait, when did Perks join? 2016?
2016 spring.
So he's now 3.5 years.
There you go.
So he's gotten 300 more kills. No.
2/3 of Perks kills.
Yeah, 2/3 of Perks kills, 1 layer less. So there you are, Caps. You got to get another 230 kills.
I think it's also important to note, right, that over the years the metas have changed a lot, number of kills. I think the pace and the number of kills has been slowly ramping up. I think if you were to equate many, different leagues, metas, and seasons. But I mean, I was surprised when I looked at this. Vizichachi, Hyonan, and Power of Evil are names that caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to see them, but Kabi, when I think of his performances, Peke, Nuke Duck, none of those were surprises to me. Are there any that stand out for you, Grabbz?
Let me check. Peke is pretty high actually still.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising.
He was very good for a few years at the beginning of ULCS.
Yeah, I know.
I chose my words there very carefully.
He's very good for a long time.
I just want to see, like, I don't remember, like, how much more, how many seasons Origen and Chachi have over Quickshot. Because that they're above him kind of surprises me. And I reckon it will change like over next year, probably. That Quickshot will catch up.
I mean, Quickshot joined 2014 with Gambit, wasn't it? Whereas Odo and Chachi, I would assume, joined around the same time, if not a little bit before.
Yeah, I would need to double check. My memory's a little bit hazy on that one. But nevertheless, Reckless got himself 4 more kills. He's 10 away from 1,500. So that's just a little fun one that I wanted to get back on the broadcast. We're going to move on to the key up player of the game leaderboard. Perks is currently number 1, followed by Vizichachi as well as Broxah. It is important to note that in the event of ties, the player that has received the highest percentage of votes will be coming out on top. I think Perks won key up player of the game earlier today, so he's sitting up there. Only one G2 member up on the top list. I mean, I
to
guess
be fair, we only have 5 wins.
Yeah, I mean, Broxah and Reckless 2 and 2. Vander sitting at 2, so he's one with a higher percentage.
What's important to remember about player of the games is that when you win a lot, if it's due to multiple different people, then they obviously get split around a lot, right? Which is why you have like Broxah and Reckless on here, right? However, when we had SK, all of their wins came from a single player. So Selfmade was sitting at the top of the board for a really long time, right? So if anything, it's pretty good for G2 because it means that they have a lot of potential carry performers. But for Splyce, it's also important to note that Vizichachi has made a lot of those massive highlight plays, right? Like the cannons and the Nars and the poppies as well. So like, player of the game, in my opinion, tells you nothing, but it is always fun to look at.
It's a fan vote, and fans, we love that you vote. We're going to be closing out week 3 soon, so let's get another look at the best moments from the Rift in our Alienware big plays. Starting with top laner Sakre. He's making headlines in his first LEC split yesterday on Gnar. He proved that he was indeed SK's missing link.
But Misfits are retreating. Crown shot caught out. It might be enough damage to take him down. They can't even kill the AD carry when he's caught out, when he's out of position. Misfits do not have the damage. True shot barrage coming in as SK look to push down mid.
I don't know if they're going to be able to secure this tower. They did take a little bit too much damage. Close stuff there, but they're looking for the kill anyway.
With the Gnar. Oh, indeed. Forbidden TPs, and that's the story of Misfits right now. Not coordinated, not alive, and they're not winning this game.
It's fine, we can still do it. Okay, nice. Come to me, I can give a share. Wait,
Ganesh. Nice one.
Sakre, what the Focus.
Javan has TP, okay? Javan has TP.
Oh, I love the team reaction, Vedius.
I just love that Sakura didn't say anything. He just did it. And then at least I couldn't quite tell, but it looked like that he didn't say anything and just went for the play, and then the rest of the team followed up. Very similar to what Caps did not too long ago, where one was like, I think we can turn this.
I think it's hilarious that he just walked up there. Like, there was no flashy plays, no E-jump. It just he walked up to the wall. They walked into him and the form and ulted them. So I think he was kind of surprised that it did work out the way, honestly.
Well, it worked out amazing. I think it won him key player of the game yesterday as well. We've discussed a lot around who has the best pike in LEC.
Oh, no.
After yesterday, there's no more room for debate. Hylissang is the king of the ocean.
A lot of these plates in the middle lane, but it's not actually allowing G2 to gain any.
There's no way you should be able to hit that. Cap's still able to get away, but Hylissang on the chase couldn't quite land the Tiamat. Hylissang, he's vying for the best pike in Europe. Cap strong. No way! No way! Through the heart of our Spring Split MVP.
Run soon and group mid and pop Herald.
Maybe. Predator all off. They're hunting me, maybe. They're looking for me. I don't know what's going on. I can speed you. I can speed you. We're looking for a kill. Ah, Mr. Hylissang. TP.
Yeah, what can I say? He was in Cap's head a bit this game, for sure.
Yeah.
But he did nothing that Mickey couldn't do. Honestly, I did not expect Fnatic to have these big cojones to pick Pike in 1-2. So next time I just first pick Pike, and then Mickey can show what he did.
I really love that.
I don't want the narrative to be he is the best now for sure, because we couldn't play him. Like, it's just the best of what he took it. So
Listen,
what are we supposed to do?
Undefeated team. It's the #1 squad in EU.
Unofficial world champion.
Unofficial world champion. Now they took the belt from. They've got the best pike. Like, we've got the proof.
What has G2 even got left?
How do you even combat that? Fans at home, try and help Grabbz out. Does he have any ammunition?
I mean, I don't need help, but I just rematch. That's all I need.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
There will be one later in the split. Listen, in our match of the week, one man got the party rolling with some well-placed barrels, leaving every Fnatic fan, I'm sorry,
Oh my God.
Thank you, Brox.
Remember, it's just a flash body slam to CC duration, and you'll pop Caps like a balloon.
There's the stun. Cap shows that against the kill, but Brox is here. Against his former teammate, Broxer will get the second kill for Fnatic.
And the biggest thing is look at Wonder's health and mana, and look at Hylissang.
Broxer still has flash. Hylissang on his way. Wonder has a flash of his own, dodging around, but there's the body slam. The CC chain. Cap's just dodging around as much as he can, surviving for as long as he can. But you have to think Whipper will get there with the chase. The Shroud use. Cap's still dodging away. The belly bot comes out, and eventually Caps will fall. Gifted over to Whippo.
I'm cutting. Can we go on Akali?
I have no summoner side.
I told you, I'm coming back in. It doesn't matter, we win.
No flash.
She's here. Nice, guys. I'm walking out.
It means Broxer can look for the gank. Wonder underneath the tower trying to dodge away. Flashes early. Broxer's still there. The slicing dice from Whippo will chase him under the tower. Has to flash the wall. Hylissang trying to clear out the wave as much as he can. Because here's Broxer. The knockback on Wonder. But Wonder dodging around with the Vanguard's edge and back in.
Look, there's only one thing to say.
Thanks,
Thank
Mr.
Mr.
Broxer.
Broxer.
Say it, Grabbz. Say it.
I won't.
I think that's fair. I actually
Internationally, I will.
okay.
For now,
I actually forgot that 2 of the 3 clips were Fnatic versus G2. So I have to say,
forgot. Okay.
Mr. Grabbz for being a good sport and playing with us.
All I want to say is, because you mentioned Django's before, I think in the first 5 clips of that, Django said grass could be there. Okay. And suddenly LNI has been slain. So I think the map pack was a bit tilted there, but sure, Broxah played well.
Congratulations to Fnatic for the win yesterday. Thank you again for the insight. Just the last few things before we wrap up the show. The LEC will be returning on Friday, the 12th of July. Mark your calendars. It's 3 weeks away from now. That is because of Rift Rivals, then break week. Let's check some of the matchups. And Vedius, what jumps out to you on our first show?
Ooh, Rogue versus Schalke could be good. Splyce versus SK could be solid. I feel like those are the only ones that really stand out to me. Everything else kind of feels one-sided on paper towards the second half. Unless Misfits fix a lot of their issues, I don't really see them challenging G2. I'd love to see a leader versus Caps. I think that would be fun.
It'd be super fun to watch.
Yeah.
Whether it's 4-0 or 0-4 on leader, that's kind of the
Or
way
Caps.
Oh yeah, Caps or Craps, right? Caps or Craps and leader. We'll have to see. I mean, any other matchup you'd like to watch that day, Grabbz?
No, I think Splyce SK is on paper the most interesting matchup, because I'm not quite sure who wins that one.
Yeah.
The others are clearer for sure. And we have last game again.
Hey, most popular team, most popular team. But yeah, perfect. So as I said, 12th of July, that's when we're back across the Atlantic. Team Liquid versus Golden Guardians is coming up in the not too distant future. You can catch all the action from the LEC in our rebroadcast immediately following the LCS. Grabbz, thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Last week and this week.
Always a pleasure, Mr.
Vedius, you were
Grabbz.
okay. That was
My job.
Yeah, you leak. Stop leaking. That was
I leaked nothing.
Thank you very much. Join us next Thursday as Rift Rivals kicks off in Los Angeles. Hopefully we take down NA. See you then.
What do you mean, hopefully?
Thank you so much.
I leaked nothing. He doesn't tell me anything.
I did not come to play, I came to dominate. 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 Dominate.
Shizuke's already stolen the cannon on one sweep right in the midst of everything. Quickshot throwing out so much damage. They're all grouped up with that. Is it going to be enough though? The Simmer now coming in to turn. Shizuke finding the stolen ultimate. Crownshot is still alive, but it will not be enough. Point and click him down. Attila will find the kill. The double for combo shot. Meter on the way in. Abadagi finds one. He's looking for two. Wants to get Gorilla. Gets it with the gunblade. Double kill for the Akali. Leader flashing through. He wants to kill. He wants the revenge. The knockup will not connect. A beautiful stopwatch from Abadagi will keep him alive. He goes out. He goes right back in. Trick pulling back the Ezreal. Now caught in the midst of the team. Hansam on the retreat. Oda Wapner cutting through this entire lineup. Grabs the solo kill on the bot side. Xerxes incredibly low, however, the knockup is there coming from North Sky. They're just going to immediately delete one member. Kabe is still alive. Patrick in the midst of everybody. But the Chachi with a big up the shutdown onto the Draven.
And now notice it is expect in the side lane. He has the teleport up without the Baron, but whoa, they're going in!
Get Jeska! There's no package here on Nemesis. He might have just jumped into his demise. Jeska charged out. Trick, boom goes the AD carry. But G2 want the fight. They're thirsty for blood. They're thirsty for kills. And they're hungry for a little bit of rogue. The Ignite comes down on Profit. He's going to take away. Caps gets it. Wonder with the Narn to Inspire who goes Golden Perks is shut down. But now G2 may focus the Nexus instead. Caps trying to do what he can. The Nexus will fall. And G2 take their 5th win of the split.
Stage. Roses are red, violets are blue. Your rap was garbage, and your region is too.
God damn, Betty! Calm down, you can't do that to him!